The Horry County Solid Waste Authority regular meeting order, June the 23rd of 2026. Our invocation this afternoon will be by Mr. Berry, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be by Ms. Creech.
Bow your heads, please. Oh, gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time that we can come together, Lord, take care of the business of the people of Horry County and the Solid Waste Authority. We ask you to put your loving arms around each and every one of our employees. Keep them all safe, Lord, each and every day. Lord, bless the people that's out in the community stirring things up about what we're trying to do wrong. We're not doing wrong. We're just trying to do your will and do what's right. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered. Next, the approval of the minutes of the May 26th, 2026 regular meeting and of the June 2nd, 2026 public hearing.
So moved.
On the question, anybody have any questions or comments? Not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. We've had one distinguished gentleman asked to be heard on public input. Mr. Carl Swartzcroft.
Thank you, Mr. Kemp, and members of the board of the Solid Waste Authority. I've got a couple things I'd like to chat with you very, very briefly. The first one is to say a gigantic king-size thank you to the Solid Waste Authority for all the effort that they put in doing that reunion about a month ago. I realize there's a lot of effort. It's just making up name tags, it's getting golf carts, there's making reservations, it's getting food. There's a whole lot of things involved. You just don't wake up in the morning, snap your fingers, and says, oh, I guess we'll have a picnic out at Danny Hardy's, and it happens. There's a lot of people in this building that make it happen, and I want to say thank you to each one of those, and especially to Carlisle over here, who I have now coined a new phrase for his catering company. It's called Carl's Celestial Catering Company of Celestial Cuisine. And the reason I mention that is as I was having lunch or having dinner, I was eating some coleslaw, and I made the remark, I said, this is really good coleslaw. Paul Prince was sitting across the table from me, and he says, Carl, he says, I eat at 7 different restaurants in the Loris and surrounding area. He said, this is the best coleslaw, period. And one of the other guys said the other thing, he says, this fish and this shrimp, he says, you go to these restaurants, he says, and all you do is you get like a biscuit with a little bit of meat in between. He said, here you get some real shrimp and you get some real fish, and there's just a little bit of breading on it. So, Carlisle, you're doing a great job. Don't change. Keep it going. And the real reason I'm here is during the presentation out at the Danny Hardy's thing, there was a great video up there talking about all the things that Solid Waste Authority has done, and I think that needs to get shared with a whole lot of other people in Horry County for a whole lot of reasons, because you really do a good job.
Chris was a photographer right behind you. Chris
Chris.
Calhoun.
Fantastic job. Great job. Chris, if you were a farmer instead of a photographer, you'd be outstanding in your field.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Great job, Chris. I need to share that. The other thing after that, Mr. Kemp introduced Danny Knight, and Danny Knight was looking around. He couldn't find a flag, so he just basically told Gary Holt, just go on with the invocation. So I'm sitting there, and his thoughts going through my mind. I said, I'm going to get a flag that is flown over the Capitol, over the White House, and give it to Danny Knight and to Danny Hardy so they can display it in the building. Well, in my life, having done chemotherapy, radiation, and fusion therapy for the last 3 years, I don't have a lot of time to wait for somebody from Washington, D.C. to send me a flag. So basically what I want you to do is I got this flag right here. This flag's claim to fame, though, is it has flown over the parking lot at Lowe's on 501 in the thriving metropolis of Conway. And I'd like you to share that with Danny Hardy. I've got the hardware over there that gets, so it can get mounted.
Thank you for your service.
So that's basically all that I've got to say. When I talked with Monica, she understands that I got a bad case of diarrhea of the mouth and constipation of the mind, and she basically said that I can go in 5 minutes, but hopefully I stayed within the 5 minutes. So thank you for everything you do. You guys are doing a great job. It's not broke, don't fix it.
Thank you, Corbin.
Thank you, Carl. Truly miss your presence at these meetings. I hope you come as often as you want, all right? Love that. Okay, that's the only person that signed up for public input. We will proceed now to the departmental reports. Mr. Murphy on recycling and corporate affairs.
Good afternoon. We're going to begin with an update on our Solid Waste Authority recycling grants. We did award, seven grants this year. I want to give you just a brief update on each one. City of Conway was awarded $10,000 to purchase recycling roll carts. They did complete that process in March and have subsequently put out these carts into their system. Their total reimbursement was for $10,000, the amount they requested. They spent 13, but they did get 10 returned to them. Coastal Carolina University requested $7,200 to purchase compost and recycling bins to extend their current program. They did complete the process in May. There are pictures in your packet. You'll see the City of Conway roll carts as well as the Coastal Carolina University recycling system. So that then collects not just compost, but it also collects other recyclables as well as trash. And these are placed throughout their administrative and academic buildings, again, to enhance their current program. Their grant request and amount of reimbursement was the same, $6,988.21. Conway Hospital had requested $5,000 for site preparation and public education material. They were looking to develop a cardboard recycling program at their facility. One of the contingencies to them receiving their grant funding was for them to secure that they had a hauler in place to actually conduct the program. We had not heard anything, any other communications from Conway Hospital since our last talk in January about what their next step would be. So they did not follow through on receiving their grant funding, so that grant money was not awarded. Echo Activators requested $8,470 for the purchase of smart recycling bins, personal compost bins, and for some public education. Their pilot program is to put smart recycling bins in the Market Common area to basically, for the most part, collect food waste and potentially some other recyclables. They are still in the process of finalizing their business plan. Therefore, no funding was offered or given reimbursement because they have not bought or purchased anything as of today.
Are they countywide?
I'm sorry?
Are they countywide or specific to a certain
They
area?
were only looking at putting bins in the Market Common area. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
PD Elementary School requested a grant of $8,737.50 for the purchase of MacBook scales and accessories to develop a program focusing mainly on their fourth grade students to daily calculate the amount of waste and recyclables that the school is generating. They did complete their purchase of materials in March and had subsequently sent us some information on how well they were doing. In your packet, there are pictures of their students utilizing the scales to weigh material, as well as one of the charts that they're generating through the use of the MacBooks in the program that they bought to utilize as part of their program. Based on their data that they collected, the 132 fourth graders that were specifically following saw a average recycling rate increase of 49% from the start to where their last report was sent in. So significant work that they're doing. They are looking at hopefully next year expanding the program, so we may hear from them in the next fiscal year. Riverside Elementary School, Petey Elementary, their grant amount was the $8,737.50, but their grant did exceed that cost by $12.21. So, in that we had some funding available, we went ahead and reimbursed them for their full amount of $8,749.71. The Riverside Elementary School requested $741.14 to purchase grabbers, gloves, and to buy prizes for their rewarding recycling at Riverside program. And basically what they were doing, they were taking the grabbers and using gloves to remove contamination from whether it was their compost waste stream or their recyclables. And they were conducting waste audits in the classrooms. And those classrooms that were shown to have the best recycling were then given awards. Their reimbursement total was $655.14. Lastly but not least, Town of Surfside Beach requested $10,000 to purchase dual recycling stations or recycling bins to put out along the beaches in Surfside Beach, and to also purchase some signage. They completed that process in February. They have since put out 70 new recycling stations along the beaches in Surfside Beach, and they are actively in use. They requested a refund or reimbursement in the amount of $9,846.79. The total amount of grant reimbursements for fiscal year 2026 was $36,239.85. And one thing I meant to mention, in your Riverside, in the paragraph about Riverside, there is an extra sentence in there that's left over from last year. It's the second from last sentence, so sorry if I confused y'all, but it's a test. Mr. Kent passed, I'm just gonna say. But in any event, there are pictures in your packet of most of our grant recipients, and all were very thankful for the money they did receive. Any questions?
I do have a comment. I would suggest that next year, or this coming year, that we might want to look at this program and the way that we administer it. There's basically $14,000 that we had committed to grants to promote recycling and to promote these programs that wasn't taken advantage of. And ask maybe staff to look at, is there something that we can do that gives us flexibility to reuse those funds if they're not committed, and the timing of it, because right now it's too late to do anything in this fiscal year. But if it gives us more time next year or whatever, I spoke to Esther a little bit before the meeting, I spoke to Jan, and asked if they maybe just look at that and give us some flexibility to perhaps go back and, offer people that needed more money, offer a little bit more, whatever. There's a lot of complications to it, but maybe during the next year, if we can look at the way we do it, maybe do it a little bit sooner or give them a little bit of time. They basically have 6 months to complete this. It's unfortunate the one applicant wasn't ready to actually implement the program they submitted for, you know, but anyway, I would just suggest that you look at that.
And as much as we've been doing for the students that actually do work in these projects, and the schools are getting this, it would be helpful for the school board to know that and maybe encourage some more of the principals to allow this in the school.
You look at the pictures that are in it, the programs are fabulous, particularly school programs.
Yeah.
They're really fabulous, right? I mean, the more we can do, we're committing funds to it, I'd like to see those funds taken advantage of.
So we save them a lot of money with the cafeteria plant.
Because if they use one can, it's free, other can, it's for $6. And, we've been in front of them before to advise them of what we were doing for the kids. And talking about the grants next year, and we discussed it early this year, that we had a deadline on the grant. But if something came up, good thing, after the deadline, we would take that into consideration and fund. But it's tough to gain somebody, take money.
Yeah, it is. It's tough to give things away free, obviously.
The schools are doing a great job. The PD school, it's, their program, it was just, we're gonna learn some stuff from that program. Maybe what to do. So they got a spark plug down there, and, we all need to utilize that.
Okay, the next update will be on the Talking Trash program. We did hold our grand finale events at 27th, 28th, and 29th down at Sky Zone in Myrtle Beach. Conway Elementary School, River Oaks Elementary School, and Palm Bays Elementary School were our grand finale winners. During the course of the 6-month program, the schools recycled or collected more than 165 tons of commingled material, OCC, and including the food waste that diverted from the landfill. Excellent job done by each school this year, did a wonderful job. In addition, our sponsor this year, WPDE, excellent sponsor, great coverage, and I think Ed Piotrowski had more fun at the grand finals than the kids did, but don't tell me I said something. Next, I want to just give you an update. Last week, we recognized and celebrated Waste and Recycler Workers Week, focusing primarily on June 17th, which is deemed as the official date. In your packet are several pictures, and each employee was given a Waste and Recycler Workers Week t-shirt to don either that day or at some point in time that week if you worked at a recycling center. And you see the pictures that are in your packet. The ones from the recycling centers always make me happy because they had an additional task where we would go around in this building or in the landfill or in the market and take pictures. They were tasked with taking pictures and sending them in, which they gladly did. So we started getting pictures on Sunday of people in their t-shirts, proudly displaying the fact that they were a worker in this industry. We culminated, or our celebration culminated with the giving away of 2 gift cards. Ms. Felicia Rouse was the recipient of the gift card on the solid waste authority side, and the recycling center side, Mr. Ed Ray was the recipient of the gift card. Mr. Ray works at the Homewood Recycling Center. So we appreciate the opportunity to celebrate our own staff and recognize them for the efforts and their hard work and dedication to this field.
That was a special request from the board last year, so thank you.
Last but not least, our Coffee Hand recipient for the month of May was Mr. Stephen Hyman. He was caught recycling at the Dolph Lake Recycling Center. His lovely smile says it all. He was very thankful and wishes to be recognized. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Finance and Administration, Ms. Reedy.
Good afternoon. My reports begin on page 34. We are 11 months through our year, about to finish up this fiscal year. As a matter of fact, we'll be closing things out next week, which brings me to a reminder that if you have not turned in your mileage through the end of June, we need to get that because we'll be closing out about the second week in July, and we will not be able to charge anything back or pay anything back, so we need everything turned in. So if you haven't turned in a mileage report, please get that to me as soon as possible, because once we close out, then June is done. So we're through 11 months. We should be at a little over 91% of budget. As you can see down the middle of the page, solid waste is currently at 91.98%, so just slightly over budget. Mixed construction and yard waste, as you can see, are well over budget, which is great. We're seeing an overall increase in our tipping fee revenue, a little over 19% over last year at this same time. The recyclable sales, as you can see, are 94.12% of budget. So again, they're staying well above budget, which is great. Just wanted to point out down at the bottom, our materials recycling facility, along with the collection and hauling program. As you can see, the revenue year to date is a little over $4.6 million, with their expenses being at $4 million. That was one of the things that we were tasked with, with adding service charge for the collection and hauling program. And again, it's paid for itself, which is what we wanted to see. We wanted to make it whole, and it has. Have not lost any customers due to it, so it's been very, very useful for sure. Page 36. Just taking a look at the income statement. As you can see, for the month, we have revenue over expenses of $326,680.36. And year-to-date, $4,292,416.50. As you can see, our revenue overall is at a little over 90.73% of budget, and our expenses are only at 81.1% of budget. That, like I said, I know I say it every month, what a great job the staff is doing, but we're at our year end and we are well below on our expenses, which is outstanding. So like I said, I have to thank the staff for really holding their expenses. Page 43, just taking a look at our tonnages, just to kind of give you a comparison. As you can see, solid waste is less than 1% on the tonnage we're over last year. If you remember when we budgeted, as you can see, we're right on where we budgeted for this year. Yard waste is a little over 11% of budget, or 11% of an increase, over last year. Mixed construction, 12.5% over last year. And overall, our tonnage is a little over 4% over where we were last year this time. So definitely, like I said, we're staying ahead in yard waste and mixed construction. So I will answer any questions. Like I said, we're getting ready to wrap up our year, so next month will really be a real tell of where we ended up for the year. We're getting started on getting prepared for the audit. We've got Dave Clevo, who'll be back from Smith Sack, but he did inform me that he is actually going to be retiring in the next couple of years, so he's going to be phasing out, and they'll be having a new auditor from Smith Sack kind of taking over. So we'll see somebody new this year, so which is always good, have a new set of eyes. So, thank you very much.
I would like to make one comment. Again, overall, our receipts are up 4%. We're taking 4% more material than we took in previous year. And all we're planning and everything else, we're planning at 2%, which hopefully will balance out to that, But I think we have to continue to watch that, because as we grow, our solid waste is growing. We're actually receiving more than we're anticipating a lot of this stuff. So think we have to be careful. Be cautious.
Good afternoon. My report begins on page 50. One of the things I want to talk about today is our gas expansion project. We've kind of broken it up into two phases. Wellfield phase where we're installing so far 32 new landfill gas wells, which is about 1,940 vertical feet. They put in over 2,000 feet of 12-inch header, 1,000 feet of 8-inch gas header, valve stations, new air release valves, 2 condensate sumps, a whole plethora of things to try to bring our well field up to where it needs to be currently. Most of what was consisted of phase 1 has already been completed. They did go in and decommission some of the things that were older and weren't working as effectively as they needed to be, and making some modifications on the existing system. One thing also that we will be doing, we'll be adding or revamping, so to speak, our gas skid. So we'll have new blowers, a whole new setup there. So bids we're supposed to be due today. So we'll be reviewing those, and hopefully sometime later this fall that will be completed around September, October timeframe. And I do have a couple of pictures of the drill rig and one of the wells to show you. Yes, sir. As you can see on this map, this blue line is some of the stuff that they decommissioned some old stuff over in this area and put in new. And then starting about right here where the pink stuff is, all the way to this end, this is new stuff. And all these little dots you see are new wells. So we're getting coverage in areas we've never had coverage in before. So we'll be pulling additional gas, new gas, which should be really good. So it should boost us up well over maybe around 1,200 SCFM now.
It looks like we've tripled the number of wells.
Yeah, like I said, there's quite a few. So that's just 32 new ones. We're constantly evaluating the well field and keeping detailed records over wells that are now on the decline because they've been in so long that they just don't produce like they did, so that when we move forward with additional expansions in the future, we know which ones are candidates for replacement. Okay. And this is a diagram of a well, so it just kind of shows you how it's constructed. And one of the things on these wells, when they placed the bentonite around them in the borehole, we went with bentonite super sacks, and that's one thing that is kind of required if you do RNG, because it helps put a tighter seal in there so you're not pulling oxygen, balanced gas. So I just included that so you could kind of see how it was constructed, the different layers. Okay. And this is a picture of the drill rig, and it's mounted on the front of a regular, what looks like a regular track hoe, but right here is what actually goes down into the dirt, and it spins, and it has teeth on the bottom of it. So as it goes down, it's spinning, it's chewing up and collecting that material so that it can be brought back up and then emptied over to the side. Okay? So that's just kind of a picture of how it was going down for that particular well. 2 photos there. And so you can see the bucket really good here, and those teeth down there. And our finished well, once it's done, that is the safety grate that we're required to have in to try to help keep accidents from happening for people falling into the boreholes. Any questions on this so far? Thank you, Esther. On Wednesday, June the 3rd, we had our landfill inspection. All areas received a satisfactory rating. On page 63, we had our 9th household hazardous waste package ship on June the 3rd, which brings our year-end total to 267,719 pounds, and the cost for disposal only at $99,775.32. On page 65, our driver of the month for June is Mr. Hunter Stroud, and he is a driver with the City of Conway, so we want to congratulate him on being selected. On page 66, the C&D recycling facility showed a 17% decrease when comparing May of 26 to May of 25. We've had a lot of things going on. We've had downtime for maintenance. We've had a really hard time keeping temp workers over on the line. So instead of being able to push the material through really quickly, I just slow it down because instead of, 12 or 13 people, you may only have 7 or 8. So we're constantly struggling with that. And even the MRF showed a 5.95% decrease when comparing May of this year to May of last year. But still yet, we are still getting top dollar for our recyclables. OCC, if you remember, was sold for $129 in May, and then when we sold it in June, we got $150.10 a ton. The UBC's national average is $1,860. We sold ours for $2,220. HDPE-C was national average is $262.60, and our sale price was $431.40. And HDPE Naturals, the national average was $1,142.60, and we sold our last for $1,360 a ton. Any questions?
Let me say this. All these reports on the tonnage that we ship out, the material that would have gone in the landfill, household hazardous waste, almost $100,000 we spent extra to cover 133 tons of paint, batteries that we could legally put in the landfill. We take an approach that we don't think that's the right thing to do. So all these of our number 6 building, household hazardous waste, is maintaining airspace. And that's a lot of the landfill airspace. So I applaud the group for the raise of less than 10% at the moment. And that's the reason I think we're getting the prices that we are up above national average. Just the cleanliness of it. And they just don't send somebody down here loaded the truck. They'll go up there and tear a bale apart and see what's in it. So
We don't know what the cross-contamination results would be. That's why we really need to make sure that we're keeping the contaminants out. Because when they make a soup, there's no telling what it will become.
we do, and they put their name on the bale, every who checks it, probably some of it twice. So there's a check and balance, and the employees up there know that that's what we should be doing, and they're doing that.
Yeah,
Good job, thank you.
yeah, I think it's spectacular, the job that staff does. All right, and going on for years, and it's somehow we gotta do a better job of getting the word out as to how successful we are. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Knight.
Thank you, Mr. Kemp. I'm really proud of our people. We'll talk more about it at the annual meeting. But I wanted to bring you up to speed on Gathering of Friends at Janie Hardy's. We had over 100 people. I've got picture books, and some of them are capable to be framed. So if there's a picture in it that you want a copy of, we can do that. We checked with every city, every planning committee, everybody to try to come up with a date that doesn't conflict with anybody. We ain't never thought about graduation being an issue. But again, we had 10, 15 people that didn't come because they had cousins and kids and graduation. which, one called me and said, Danny, I told you I was gonna be at that party, but I told my wife we were going. She said, I don't believe we are. Your daughter is graduating from high school out Victoria. I said, I believe you made the right choice. So it was, I think it was fun, hell, the food was good.
Yes.
And I've heard too many comments, called, explain why they didn't come, call because, there's no pressure. We're not asking them for anything. We're not politicking for anything. It's just a thank you to neighbors, anybody that wanted to come, and it was an advertised meeting. Thanks for being part of it.
Thank you for doing it.
Congratulations.
Echo what Mr. Schwarzkopf said earlier, it's a lot of work. It was well presented.
It's like the grant. You have to call people 2 or 3 times just to, fourth time you kind of aggravated them, so you back off a little bit, but it's, I think everybody enjoyed it, from the police that worked with us, fire department that worked with us, equipment people. So, yeah, it was a good cross section. So I've got the book here, you can take a look at it between the meetings, and, appreciate y'all wanting to do it.
Please, let's do it again.
Next year?
Yes, sir. Sir. Thank you, Mr. Berry.
Anything else?
You're welcome, sir.
All right, we'll move on to committee reports. Mr. Berry, on the nominating committee meeting?
We did have a nominating committee meeting, Mr. Chairman, and the board chose to recognize Ms. Pam Creech as our chairman, as well as Dr. Hayward for our vice chair. And the secretary would be Wayne Fox, and myself would be the treasurer.
Okay. Any questions? Anybody have any questions on that? Huh? Okay. Next is, item on old business is budget recommendation.
Just a quick review, of course, that we had our budget workshop on March 26th. We also had our public hearing on June 2nd. So we are presenting to you tonight for the board's approval, the FY '27 operating budget totaling $48,339,360, and the '27 capital budget totaling $47,172,500.
I'll entertain a motion to accept that recommendation.
So moved. Second.
Any questions on our budget? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right. It was a lot of work. We appreciate the work the staff has put into that. All right. Okay. Under new business, C&D hauler restrictions. Mr. Knight.
Thank you, Mr. Kemp. July coming up, and we're getting ready to start down our road of 2 years, reducing the amount of commingled, and following some of the recommendations that county council has brought up about OC&D, Yoder County landfill, 2 years. So we're, staff-wise, we're taking a look at ways that we think we need to proceed with this. Our first idea is to permit everyone that's using the landfill. Not gonna be a big permit fee, it's just gonna give us information, who you are, where you are, how we get in contact with you. Friday, we were on the, Saturday schedule. We contacted the people that we had numbers, and told them that we were closing at lunch. A lot of people, cash customers, haul trailers, roofers, we had no way of contacting. But if we have the permit situation, and we've got the information, we can get, information to them, advise them what we're doing. And we will probably start with the C&D dig haulers, figuring out where they're bringing the material from, if they're licensed through the state. If not, that brings up another issue that we may have. The transfer stations that are permitted, Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, they follow the same guidelines we did over here with number 6 building, drainage and fire suppression and on and on and on. But some of these folks seemingly don't fall within those guidelines, and we need to know more about their activities. So, you can, probably fall, we will have more information on it. We'll have a workshop with the operation committee. Full board, we'll keep everybody appraised, but I just wanted to let you know that when we start tightening up, you're gonna start getting complaints and questions, and we want you to be able to answer any question that you may get at Food Line or Lowe's or any place else. What are you doing? What you trying to do? What you doing to them? And those type of things. But we're gonna do everything we can do to limit the commingling. C&D will continue to work with the Corps on the alternatives, and whatever they come up with, we'll live with, and then we will move on.
That's smart. We need to identify them. If we don't know who they are, we can't reach them.
That's right.
So this is smart. We need to do this.
And a cash customer, if they come through the way, they pay, and they're gone.
Yeah.
We know what they're doing, but we don't know
Who they are.
exactly where it's from, what it was benefited. And you know, if a company is deconstructing a motel at the beach or they'll have a business license to do that stuff, but all they'll have to do is present that as part of the permit process. One way we can manage it, we may have to manage it through the county business license on our own.
Yeah.
But we're gonna take every look at everything.
But they may not know that they would get a better rate if they didn't commingle all their waste.
That's right. That's right.
And this would be a better way to reach them and educate them.
Just putting you on notice, moving in that direction. There's gonna be some grumbling.
Well, just make sure you have a handout to give them the number to call to grumble to.
I got you. I got you, Drew.
Thank you,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any roundtable discussion? Is there anything that anybody wants to bring up? If not, we'll take a 10-minute break between this meeting and our annual meeting. Okay, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved. Second.
We are adjourned. We'll be back in 10, 15 minutes.